I felt powerless in the situation because I was going crazy. That's where all my hope just crashed. Hey guys, it's Ella and Nick. Welcome back to our channel where we're all about
living life,
loving each other,
and sharing good times with you.
For our new subscribers, welcome and feel free to subscribe and give us a like. And for our returning subscribers, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and feel free to share our content with your friends and family.
Yes. So today, as we know, we are going on with the series. We are going to start talking about long distance relationship. If you haven't watched the other episode, please feel free to go back and then come back.
Yes, no, you can finish this one and then go catch up with the first one.
Okay, that also
whichever
works.
one makes you happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Without further ado, we shall start on our long distance relationship.
This is basically the time that she left and now it was time to hit the ground running alone. Like a switch of the way we used to do things. We couldn't talk as much as we used to. We couldn't have the long walks that we used to. We couldn't see each other. I also couldn't call her as much as I wanted to. These were just challenges and it was just crazy because all I used to do is call you, talk to you when I'm not in class. Went back home. It was just different because we used to go home together, and the only difference that I think was between me and you was most of these places that I used to pass every day were places that we used to go together. Like going to the bus stop. Sometimes I meet some of the neighbors, your friends, and they're like, "Oh, hi, how are you doing? And how is she doing?" And I'm like, "Oh God, again." So the memories come back and you're like, "Oh, she's good." Actually, the first month, it was very easy because it didn't feel like it had happened. The first few weeks, not really months, because the reality hadn't struck that much. I couldn't see. I thought you're going to come back after a few months. It was like a vacation. You had gone for a vacation and you're coming back.
I'll be back.
So it was a bit easy compared to the months that followed. You could go to events and you're alone.
Yeah.
Your friends have girlfriends and you're there. And you're the one who had a girlfriend for a long time before they had girlfriends.
Oh, so they were kind of following your lead. And now you're the one.
Well, it's not about following the lead. It's all about who found a girlfriend first.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a bit awkward sometimes. You could go out and people are dancing and you're like, we had this ethic that we had put in our relationship that we couldn't mess around with any other person because it was a serious relationship. And you go to these parties that we are used to and you have just to sit either next to the person playing the music, like the DJ, or be the person mixing the drinks because you had to be busy. So it was really difficult because I had to improvise a way of making sure that I'm busy throughout the night.
Right.
Yeah. Aww. So it was a bit difficult, and over the months now when you go home and you're meeting your parents and they're like, how is she doing? And you're like, she's good. And you maybe talk maybe once a day, and sometimes it's not even clear because the network isn't good. Call drops and oh my God, it was so hard.
The calling part was so hard because so I landed in America and all of a sudden I was alone. I had never really been alone without him. Since we started dating right after high school, all my adult life really I spent with him. And now I found myself, I'm in a new land, somewhere I don't know anybody except for, of course, my family. And he was not there. I felt so lost because I was like, how do you do life alone? How do you go anywhere without somebody else? Because I was just so used to having his company, or if I needed anything, he would always be there. If I need to figure out something, he would be the one to help me. Even I remember you used to help me pick up my classes in KU. And help me register and do all that. And so I'm in a new land and I'm trying to figure all these things out. First of all, in a place that I'd never been before, and secondly, he wasn't there. So that was really, really hard. So we did spend a lot of our free time together. We would talk a lot, but it was difficult because back then you could only buy calling cards. I remember I used to buy the black calling cards. If you're in America, you know about those. You buy a $5 card and you can talk for an hour and a half on the phone. The other option was Skype. Yeah, we used to Skype sometimes, but it was hard because the internet wasn't that readily available back then, so the network would be so bad. So I remember we could only Skype when you are on campus. So sometimes he would be on campus and classes would be over, but he would stay until very, very late so that he could talk to me. And also the time difference was another thing that was very new. Like, what do you mean it's daytime in Kenya and it's nighttime in America? I had never like even thought about that. Well, my dad had been here for a while, so I kind of heard about it. He was like, yeah, like it's daytime here when it's nighttime over there, but I never really experienced it myself, so it was kind of like something new to get used to and to actually learn how it works. And then to make it worse, a couple months in, time changes again. Like, I don't know, you skip forward or you fall behind an hour and you have to tell him, now we used to be 10 hours apart, but now we are 11 hours apart. And he's like, huh? Like, what happened? And now you both have to figure out what to do. And I remember for me, when I buy that $5 card, we would talk for an hour and a half. But I think for you, you could buy a calling card for 100 shillings and we could talk for an hour, right?
Yeah.
So it was cheaper if you called me.
Yeah, so she had to rely on me calling most of the time.
Yeah, because I didn't have a job. These are the early months of like after I got here. So I didn't have any money really, except maybe like what my dad would give me.
I think somewhere ahead I went for an internship, and actually during this time is the time that I called more, because every morning we used to call, which was nighttime here in the US now that I'm here, and I had to like sacrifice 40 minutes of my mornings.
Every morning
I had to call her for 40 minutes, and it wasn't easy because sometimes I had to switch over lines because we had these international calling rates that were a bit high on other networks and cheaper on other networks, and it really worked for us for quite some time.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the same. All this experience was difficult,
and I remember one day your phone just died
because of these high traffic calls. The phone can stay on quite some time.
Yeah, like for hours and hours, especially like when you're on campus and you had internet and then you would leave it, we'd have to switch over to like voice call. You just feel like you don't want that call to end, so we just stayed on the call. Sometimes we would talk for a whole night. So I buy maybe a 500 card, then I keep loading 100 bob, then it keeps giving me an hour of talk time, international calls. So this was really, really hard, and sometimes it also took a toll on us because there were times we could talk hours and hours and the next day we can't make it. And remember, this is the person you still love and you still want to keep in touch. For anyone who is doing long distance relationship, you know that communication is key. You talk to that person more than you talk to your family, and this person is not even like around. The first maybe 5-6 months I hadn't figured out my way around and I didn't have a job, but I had time because I wasn't busy. But it got really, really difficult. I started school maybe like 3-4 months after being in the US, and then around the same time I started working. So I used to be able to be available to talk to him whenever. He was the one who had school, so I would just adjust my schedule to his. And then a couple months down the line, now I'm a student and I have a job. If you're in America, you know that you gotta work to get some money, because if you don't, then you're not gonna get any money. At the same time, I knew that I really wanted to go to school because I was already going to school back in Kenya, so I didn't want to just come here and not go to school. I still felt like that's something I want to do, and I wanted to start right away because a lot of people said you want to start right away because you don't want to just start working and get used to that life and then you're gonna find going to school too difficult. But I remember it was something that I really wanted to do. So I started taking classes, and I'm in a new land. The system is different. I have to learn the system, like how to figure out classes and all of that jazz. Start working. So I would work night shift, go to school during the day, or go to school in the morning time and then work evenings. So that made it really difficult for us to communicate, and we were just trying to find as much time as we can within our days to just be able to at least talk to each other.
Yeah, actually, I've just remembered I didn't finish the part of the phone because I remember when my phone died, she couldn't take the fact that I couldn't talk to her for a whole day.
Yeah, imagine like you're used to talking to someone every single day, like every single day, maybe when you wake up or when you go to sleep, like they're gonna either call you or text you or something, and then all of a sudden they're not there. Like I tried to call you, I couldn't get you, and I tried to text you, I couldn't find you. I tried to call you on Skype, you are not online, and I was going crazy. I was like, what happened? Like, I had all the thoughts that you could imagine were racing through my head.
Yeah, and then she bought me a phone. I think you actually bought me that phone within 24 hours.
Okay, so this is what happened. I had my first gig. So I met this lady. She was Nigerian, and she said, oh, I have a party this weekend, and I'm looking for some girls to come help me serve the food. So I did, and then they paid each of us $100, and and I was like, woo, I made my first $100. And then I was so excited to talk to him, and I couldn't find him, and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened?
Then you sent me the money?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how it happened.
Yeah, there you go.
So I don't know. She sent me around 9,000.
Yeah.
I think so. When it
was
exchanged.
around, I think it was like almost all of it, because I think back then
I didn't actually know that you actually hustled to get me that phone.
When I got the job, I didn't know that you didn't have a phone.
It was a small screen phone, and it really worked so well because it made the rest of the months very easy.
Yeah, they were easier.
Yeah.
But then, like, it was easy to talk to each other, but then the time to talk was what the problem was, because we never had time. So the problem is, if you're in a long distance, if you're in any relationship in general, there's gonna be problems. Like, some problems are little problems that you can solve by talking together like this. You just sit down and you say, hey, what happened here? Like, maybe this is how I felt, and the other person say, oh, that's how you felt. I didn't know, and I'm sorry about that, and blah blah blah. And you look at each other, and you know the other person is sorry, and you can just let it go and move on. When you're in a long distance relationship and you have time difference, and something happens, like in the evening, let's say on my side, that's his morning, and he has to go to work, to school, sorry. And I have to wait, and then we'll talk about it in the morning.
So a small issue will take a whole day to resolve. And the other thing, misunderstanding.
Yes.
Like I can misunderstand what you send me as a text. So when I try to reach her, she's probably at work or in school, and there's no communication.
Yeah.
So you end up misjudging what she maybe meant.
Or overthinking it.
Yeah, or overthinking it and getting mad. The moment you start talking, you start on another level. Then it spoils the next day.
Yeah.
Then the day that follows maybe is the day that you resolve, and you're like, I thought you meant this.
Yeah. Something that if you're together, you can solve within 5 minutes takes 3 days to resolve. And when you're having, continuous problems, and it's taking that long to solve that little thing, within those 3 days, so many other things have gone wrong too, because you're overthinking, you're angry, so you're stressed out, so many things.
After this, I think we tried the green card process.
Oh yeah, so remember, if you've watched our first episode or the second one, El flew out, we talked about how we had a plan of how he's going to join me or what we are going to do, but the only thing we knew is we we're going to find a way for him to either come and join me, and we decided, let's try the green card process. So I got to the US in July, and normally the lottery is open in October. So October came around, and we applied for him, and after applying, pretty much all you can do is wait until the time comes for the results to be out. And I think I remember the results were supposed to be out in May. So between October and May, we had that thing of, okay, we're waiting for this process to be over and for the results to come out in May. So between October and May, you have something to look forward to, hope that this long distance thing will be over soon if what you're waiting for goes through. So do you remember what happened when May came?
I think something happened. I don't know.
Of course something happened. So May came around, and they released the results of the green card lottery, and he didn't win. And then shortly after that, they announced that, actually we want to redo the results again, because apparently there was some mix-up or some issue, and we'll release the results in another maybe 2-3 months. So we were like, okay, they didn't pick him the first time, but maybe I think this is a sign that they will pick him the next time, and we should continue to wait. So we waited until July, and
I wasn't lucky.
oh. Yeah, it was so sad.
So when this happened, every time for someone who has ever tried this, there's something that it takes away from you.
Yeah.
And that's hope. You feel like you are not going to meet again.
Yeah.
And it's not easy like crossing over to the other side. And it's the worst feeling ever because you don't have the joy again in your conversations. You're like, what's the other option? Maybe this is the only option we had.
Yeah.
That felt like it had light at the end. Yeah.
It seemed as though if this doesn't go through, then there is no other way. There's no other way this is going to work, because we had put all of our hope in there. And I remember we were really praying a lot. We said, God, like, you're the one who put this love between us. You brought us together. There's no way you put this love between us and not give us a way to be able to be together. So when it didn't go through, it was so frustrating for the both of us, because we were both like, now what? And I think around that time when that happened, it was July. And if you're in if you're in US, you know that like when you get here, there is some, depending on what you came with, there's some time that you can't travel back, or you can't travel really unless you apply for some travel documents. So I was in that period where I had to wait a year before I could apply for traveling documents and be able to travel. Right away when I hit my year, I was like, I'm applying, I'm gonna get my traveling documents, and I'm gonna go back to Kenya. So I started that process. Actually, I was doing it for myself, my mom, and my sister. And I remember 2-3 weeks before my travel date, my sister's and my mom's traveling documents came back, and I got a letter saying one of the people that was supposed to sign my documents didn't sign it. I was like, what? I felt like my world just crumbled. I was like, I've already bought a ticket. How is it that I'm not able to travel? I was so down. I was so frustrated. I was just crying all the time, really.
Yeah, I can imagine the first time we didn't get the green card. The second time we didn't get it. And so now, again, the third option is gone.
It's gone too.
And you're here, you just started buying like all these cards to call, and it's expensive and it doesn't feel the same. You're in school, you still need to perform, you need to go back home and smile. You still meet these friends. All they do is remind you of how it used to be. And when I'm with my friends, now they have girlfriends, and now you're the third wheel in every meetup. It was so hard, and every day that passed, we felt like it was clear that we are not going to be together like soon.
We're not going to be able to see each other anytime soon. So that's how it felt. And throughout this time, like as the longer I stayed in the US, the busier I got, because then like I started taking classes, but then like every quarter you take more classes. You just become so busy, and it's hard to match like schedules together, because I think also after that you started working, right? When you did your internship?
I was just an intern, so...
Yeah, but you had like a working schedule, like a Monday to Friday working hours schedule. It got really hard to like match up. And then, you know, when you're frustrated and you're trying to reassure each other and you're not having that enough time to do that, he was really trying to reassure me that everything is going to be okay. And I started feeling guilty, because I was like, I'm the one who left. Like, this is my fault. If I never left, then we would still be together. We wouldn't be trying to solve this issue of being apart. And I really started feeling bad about it, because I felt like, you know, I felt powerless in the situation, because I felt like I had tried everything that I could, and still things are not working. So we started arguing a lot, maybe a year and some couple months into it. Like, all our conversations would just be fights.
Okay, well, not all, surely.
Most of them.
Yeah, see, most of them, not all. We used to try and talk and calm down and talk about things that we used to talk about before. But it was hard, because sometimes you are in the middle of solving this conflict, and you're used to talking for a long time. Then she's like, sorry, I have to go. I have work in like 40 minutes.
Yeah. And or I have to go. I have class.
Yeah.
And he's like, you never have time. And I'm like, but I have to go to class and I have to go to work. It's not like I don't have time for you. I have to go do these things. Like, I have to make a life. But in my head, I was like, what am I making a life for? Like, what is all this? Like, it never made sense. I started feeling like, you know, coming to this place was the worst decision I made. Like, I should have just stayed home. I should have just told my dad, I'm so sorry, but I'm just gonna stay behind and try to figure life out with him and all that. But of course, at that time, like, you're only like 21 or 22, so you can't be saying those big words to your dad.
And I didn't usually understand because the system in Kenya is so different. In Kenya, you work Monday to Friday mostly, and it's 8 to 5, and after 5, people are free.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, people are free. So I'm like, I don't understand why you have to work over the weekend. You have to work all the time.
Yeah, and you have to work night shifts too. Like, that was so, like, why? Like, what do you mean you have to work night shifts? Like, who goes to work at night?
Yeah, so during this time there were a lot of like conflict all the time, and most of the time we were just angry talking to each other sometimes.
Yeah, because I was trying to maneuver like a new culture. I was going through my own culture shock, learning a new system and learning how things work. And you know, you have this person telling you, oh, this is what you should do, and this other person telling you, oh yeah, make sure you go to school, and this other person says, oh, you should look for a job like this, and blah. And you're trying to also like find your own voice within all that, like being yourself, like without him. Because I feel like when we were together, it was very easy to like make decisions and like understand things, because you know, always it's better when you discuss it with somebody else. But I was trying to figure it out on my own, and on top of that, I feel like he didn't understand, not by fault of himself, but just because it's even me when I was in Kenya, like if someone tried to explain to me what I was trying to explain to him, I probably wouldn't understand. And myself, I was like, you should support me. Like, I'm trying to work and I'm trying to find a way for us to be able to be together and to see each other. If I have to travel, if you have to travel, like we have to have some money and things like that. And it was just really, really hard to get on the same level and understand each other and just be calm and have a regular conversation for couple of days.
So during this time, I remember I tried also to just put my mind away from all this conflict. So when it was time to, maybe the weekend came and I couldn't get a hold of you, so I used to also go for these parties and just try to forget. But at the same time, during those parties, you find yourself sitting alone, just stressing out, thinking about you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think it was the same for you, because when you're free, sometimes I'm not even available.
Yeah, so it started getting, okay, so it had been like a whole year of us doing this long distance. Basically, I had been in the US for a year and I had not even made any friends. Because remember, I'm the one who came to a new land, so I didn't know anyone, and I spent all of my time talking to him. And then when I got busy, it was even crazier. I didn't have even time to even do anything else, because I was going to school, I was going to work, and my spare time I was talking to him. So I was getting really, really lonely. And then when we started fighting, like it started feeling like, oh gosh, this is even harder, because you think about, okay, we need to talk in the morning, but there's gonna be an issue that we're gonna be talking about. So it's just already like so depressing. We're social beings, like you need friends, you need to be out there. I felt like I didn't even like know the place well, like where we were staying, because I was never going out. Even my family, sometimes they would say, yeah, let's go to the lake, or let's go do this and let's go do that, and I would say no, I can't go, because I know if I go, we're gonna be late coming back, and he's gonna be awake and he's gonna try to call me, and I'm not gonna be home, and probably we're not gonna be able to talk. So I'd rather not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you should have been telling me these things.
I'm sure I was trying to tell you those things, but we were too like to even like hear these things. Yeah, so I didn't have any friends. I didn't know a lot of people. I didn't even know a lot of places. So it got to this point where I felt like I need some social connection, you know? I started tagging along with my family. They would go somewhere, like go out to the lake or go out to, you know, a barbecue or do something fun. And then I started meeting some friends and I started moving around a little bit. And, you know, of course, like he said, when you start meeting people are like, oh, who is this new person? We've never seen this person. And like, that's basically, people are just curious about new people. And I started making friends that way. He had like friends and I had friends here, and now...
Okay, well, basically my friends were just the normal, the same friends.
Yeah.
Only that now Now, the people who I met, either from other classes that we mingled with in campus, chat and talk to them, but really it doesn't hit that note where it used to hit before. So you just talk to them and then you go back to your place. The weekend comes, goes, and that's the way like months turn into a year.
So when I started having friends here, like he's like, so who's the new person? Who are these new people you've met? And I'm trying to explain to him like, oh yeah, so I met this person, they're this and that. And I think it was hard because he hadn't heard me having friends before, like for the whole time that we were dating. And he was like, why are you all of a sudden like you have all these new friends? And for me, like sometimes he would go to like the bashes and stuff like that, and I would be like, so who are you hanging out with? You're like, I really wanted to talk to you yesterday, but you were out in that bash and I couldn't even reach you. So that would be me sometimes. And then maybe on your part you'd be like, you were out with your new friends and I don't even know them. And so things like that just become things that you fight about because you had never really experienced hanging out with people without each other. So it was really hard. The time that it got really hard was when we realized that I would not be able to go to Kenya to see you after my traveling documents didn't go through. I think that's where all my hope just crashed, and I was like, oh my gosh, then this must not be meant to be, because all the tears I've cried, all the prayers we've prayed, all the things that we've done to be able to make this work, like everything is just not working and there's no other explanation. And really you are trying to really bring me back and, you know, give me hope and say, don't get too frustrated, we're gonna figure out, you know, what to do and something is gonna come up. But I was like, I don't see it, and how, and what am I gonna do, and it's all my fault. In hindsight, if I knew what I know now, when my travel documents became available, I would have just come back. And like maybe we could have saved ourselves like a couple of years and like made some steps, or you know, be able to decide what we wanted to do.
Yeah. So I think at this point we may just stop at this point so that the next episode you will learn what happened. The next episode is an episode that we honestly would rather skip it, but since it's here, we'll just have to dive into it. Yeah,
it's part of the story and it's one of the harder ones that we have to tell, but we decided to do this. And the reason that we're doing this is to inspire someone and to show that, you know, relationships are not perfect. We are not perfect, and we've gone through some challenges and we've handled them, sometimes in the right way, sometimes in the wrong way, but we've grown and learned through them, and we've had to do a lot of things to be here now. And so if you're in a difficult situation or in a hard spot, or long distance relationships, they are hard and they require a lot from you. And sometimes I don't even know what to say, because obviously the first time we tried it, it worked for a while, the year and a half that we did it, and then it didn't. It does require a lot and a lot of patience.
From both sides, all of you have to be in the same page in all aspects. So have gray areas in some aspects and expect it to work. So from my end, I think what I can say is, if you're in a long distance relationship at the moment, just work on it. Don't lose hope. Don't dwell on the negatives, and just pray to God that your relationship works and it is able to persevere, because especially in this day and age where we have so many ways of connecting with so many people, like you can be sitting with someone and they're actually connecting with someone as you talk to them. Like you have to really pray for your relationship and put in so much work. Keep on putting that energy and tilling that relationship so that it grows to what you want it to be, so that it's able to survive all these new things that come in between right now, technology and all that, that make it so hard for relationship to thrive, especially long distance relationship. So if you are doing that, don't lose hope, keep pressing on, and don't assume anything. Like if it's something that you're not sure of, just work on it and just solve it. You'd rather like use other people that can actually, people that you respect, that can actually help you through it, because sometimes it's so hard to actually agree on some things when it's just the two of you. But I think even as if we invited maybe like other people, like people we respect, they would actually have helped us like maneuver through the hardships that we went through.
I think the problem that we were having back then is we were still in that bubble of like, this relationship is just ours, it's just me and you. This was the first round of long distance relationship. We did, as we keep telling the story, of course we're gonna get to another long distance relationship, which was quite different from what we just explained now, and there are things we learned from the first time that helped us navigate the second time. So stay tuned for all of those. Those are obviously in future episodes to come. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you've learned something, and if you have any questions, you can always put them in the comments below. Thank you for your interaction so far, all the people that have been commenting and letting us know that they're enjoying the content. We really appreciate you. Share this link to your friends everywhere. Let them know about us and about this channel. We want everyone to learn something, and we want to build a community. So share,
subscribe and like.
And like we always say,
see you in the next one.
And in the meantime, share some love, life, and laughter with someone. Okay. Hey guys, it's hey. Oh Lord.
Sit up vizuri. Yes, like that. Good. Now you look like you. Yeah. Now you're good. Uko tu like.
Oh my God.
No.
Because
this usually happens in the middle of the set.
oh my God.
What?
Yeah, you are.